the Isle of Cats Duel. 2 players, 30 minutes, 8 and up. Designed by Frank West. Coming to us from, of course, the City of Games. You are citizens of Squall's End on a rescue mission to the Isle of Cats and must save as many cats as possible before the evil Lord Vesh arrives. Each cat is represented by a unique tile and belongs to a family. You must find a way to make them all fit on your boat while keeping families together. Here's your box contents. This is a standalone game within the beloved world of the Isle of Cats, made especially for 2 players. So let's go ahead and look inside this 2-player game. So here's the Isle of Cats. If you're familiar with Isle of Cats boxes, this is a training box. If you have a kitten, you should place it here while playing the Isle of Cats Duel. So we start with this big bag full of stuff. You'll see, really big, really roomy, easy to get my hand in. And if you dump it out, you have a plethora of cat tiles. So you'll see all different kinds of colors and shapes. Some of them have little fish tokens on them. That means you're going to get a fish token when you grab that tile. So there are all of the different cats, colors, shapes, sizes, etc. So let's kind of kick those off there. You then have your common treasures. There's a couple different shapes. You see a 1x2, you see a 1x3. There's a little 1x1. Here's a little corner piece. But there are your common treasures. Next up we have some cards. So here are those cards. If you flip them over, take 1 tile from the bag at random and immediately place it on your boat. So these are different actions and or lessons that you'll be able to do for when you grab these off of the board, which you'll see in the how to play. Take any 2 treasures, take any 2 treasures. There's these. 7 points if you have the most treasures. And there is that. Next up you have a pencil. And you have a score pad. You'll see it was close, but the bride did squeak out in the end. She did a bit better with the cats, and the lessons were close, and so forth. Next up you have fish tiles that you'll be using to possibly do special things, and then you have this little Oshaks which you'll be moving around the board. So the way I had this set up, we are finally to the rule book. So looking in here, you have the whole gameplay, where to find us, how to win. Here's the learning the game, all of your components. Here's how to set it up. And then the boats. This is very similar to Isle of Cats. The boats have rooms. How you place the tiles is the same. The main thing that's different here is the day overview, how you draft the cats. So clear the island. Scoring. Scoring is still pretty much the same exactly as well too. There's the different types of cats. There's some FAQ. And then you have the cat color guide, and then the treasure maps, what they look like, and then what color they are related to. So you do have the player board. There's this side, and then if you flip it over, you'll see there is a different layout to the boat. So there's that. And you have that in 2 different boards, or for each player. Then up here you have what you can spend the fishes on. Down here is your scoring rubric. So again, you have the other side. And then finally, you have the main game board. Double-sided, but pretty sure it's the same on both sides. Looks like it. And basically these spots are where you're going to be putting cats. These spots are where you're going to put cards, and you move the Oshaks around to try and grab the different items. But as I said, we'll get into all that in the how to play, which is coming up now. Here we are about to set up that play of Isle of Cats Duel. So you are going to give each person a player board. You're going to put the main board in the middle. You're going to put the Oshaks in this upper left corner. You are going to have the deck of cards shuffled off to the side. You're going to make your stacks of your common treasures. Each player gets 3 fish. Again, you have the stacks of fish here. You're going to grab 3 tiles out randomly and put them off to the side. You are then going to fill the board. Each one of the little grid spaces is going to get a cat tile. Each one of these spaces is going to get a card. So it should look something like this when you set it up. You can line them up on the grid however you want to do it. You're then going to choose the first player however you like, and then you're going to look at the boards and you are going to choose which side you wish to use. Each player is allowed to use a different side. So we are going to start with that, and we are now ready to begin. The first thing you're going to do on your turn is you are going to move the O-Shacks exactly 2 spaces. No more, no less. When you move it, you move to adjacent spaces, and you cannot move back to the same tile you began on, so I could not go 1, 2. You need to move it to a different space. There are little paw prints, little footprints on here to show you which spaces you can go to. So in this example, let's say I go 1 and 2. So he is now on that spot. Then I can choose a tile or a card, basically a discovery. The discoveries you have a choice from are what you have touched this turn. So from the space you started to the space you ended on. So in this instance, I could grab this tile, this card, or this tile. So let's say I grab this tile. I am now going to place it on my boat. Couple things with your boat. 1, you'll notice there are different rooms with little different icons or the main deck. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different rooms. You're going to attempt to cover all the spaces in a room, otherwise you'll get negative points at the end of the game. 2, there's rats. You're going to want to cover them. 3, there are these little map tokens on there that are different colors. When you place your first tile, you can place your first tile anywhere on your board. Each subsequent tile needs to be adjacent to a previously placed tile on your ship. They are not allowed to go off the edges of the boat, and they are also not allowed to overlap previously played tiles. Coming back to these maps, if you cover that map with a piece of that color, you then are allowed to grab a treasure. You'll grab one of the common treasures over here, all that are available. If a piece runs out, you're just out of that piece, and you'll have to select from the ones remaining. You would grab a piece and then immediately place it on your board, again following all previous placement restrictions. I will note, if a piece has this fish on there, you will then also take a fish token. Another thing I will note is selecting a cat or a card is optional. The only thing that is mandatory on your turn is moving the 2 spaces. The other thing you can optionally do on your turn are these fish actions depicted up on your board. You can spend a fish to move an additional space. So going back to here, when I was here, I could have went 1, 2, spent the fish token to move a third one. Again though, you are not allowed to move back to the space you started your turn. So had I again started here, I couldn't go 1, 2, spend 2 to loop back to that spot. With the fish actions, you are allowed to do them multiple times and as many as you can afford. So again, that's move 1 extra space. You can spend 2 to jump anywhere. So if I spend 2 to jump to here, you would not have the selection option of all the ones you've passed, only where you started and where you landed. You can spend 2 fish to take 1 treasure, or you can spend 3 to choose 1 extra discovery. So again, coming back to the initial one, if I moved 1, 2, I could spend my 3 fish, and I can take this, and I could say take this card. I would have placed that here. I would get 2 treasures of my choice to be able to place on my board. So that is how your turn goes. At the end of a turn, you are going to ask a series of questions. Is the island empty? If it's not empty, did you perform a selection action? If you did not perform a selection action, did the player before you perform a selection action? So if the board is not empty and you performed a selection action, the next player goes. If the board is not empty and you did not perform a selection action, your opponent did not perform a selection action, then the round is over and you're going to clear the board. If the board is empty, you are then going to move to the end of round, refilling the board, same thing as if both of you passed, clearing the board, then resetting for a next round. Once you clear the island, either because everything has been selected or you've passed consecutively, but once the island is clear, whoever was the second player now becomes the first player. What they're going to do is they're going to look at these 3 tiles that you set on the side of the board. They're going to choose one, and they're going to add it into the bag. If there was no cat tiles available, that signals the end of the game, which means you have played 4 rounds. You'll move to end game scoring. Otherwise, you are now going to refill the board. You are going to refill it how you did before. Cat tiles on those spots, cards on there. The Oshak stays where it ended the round at. So then the board would look something like this, now only having 2 tiles. And again, whoever was second player in the first round will now be first player in this round. So endgame scoring is covered down here in the corner. Let me go ahead and set up a boat and kind of show you how endgame scoring works. Alright, here's an example of what a final boat may look like. I did kind of just cobble this together to show you some scoring examples. So the first thing you're going to look at is you're going to look at families of cats. A family of cat is deemed as 3 or more cats. That's why you have this little table down here. So you'd be looking at your blue, green, orange, purple, and red. So let's first look at our blue. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Consult our table. That would be 11 points. Green, I have 2 here and 1 here. They are not adjacent, so I do not have a family of green. So that would be no points. You then look at your oranges. I have 3 together. That is 8. You look at your purple, again, 3 is 8. And you look at your reds, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be 15. If you had any more than 5, each additional cat would be an extra 5 points. So if I had another red one adjacent to this, I'd be getting 20 instead of 15. You're then going to look at your lessons cards and see how many of those you have gotten. So for instance, this one is 7 points if you have the largest family of cats. In case of a tie, you get the points. 5, more likely I've tied my opponent, so we will say I got those 7 points. 12 points if you have exactly 18 cats on your boats, then you would count the cats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I do, that'd be 12. 9 if you have exactly 5, we do. And then 1 point per 2 cats touching the edge of your boat. You're going to look along the edge and count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So that was a good score. Again, more likely I wouldn't be getting this score. If playing, my opponent probably would have stopped me at some point. You then are going to see if there's any visible rats on your board. We do have one right here, so that's going to be negative 1 point. You're then going to look at every room and see if you have any empty rooms. We did not fulfill the deck, so that is one room we didn't. This little apple core looking, we didn't do that, or this bird puffin parrot. So that's 1, 2, 3 rooms would be negative 15 points. You total all that up. So once you total up the score, you see who has the higher score. Whoever has the higher score wins. In case of a tiebreaker, whoever has the most fish remaining wins. If you both still have the same amount of fish, then you both share the victory. So that is the basics of how to play Isle of Cats Duel. Hope you enjoy that. If you could please go ahead and head down below and hit subscribe, like, share, ring the bell. Leave a comment and let me know what your favorite game in the Isle of Cats universe is. Also down below is a join button where you can join the channel to help support the channel and then get some exclusive perks such as early videos, special exclusive only videos, etc. If that's not your thing, we also have a Patreon and a Ko-fi that you can also use to help support the channel and keep these videos coming to you, the viewer, from us, the producer. So with all that being said, get out there sailing.